Hello YouTube, my name's Andrew and welcome to today's video. Today I wanted to take a moment and talk about the upcoming SYNCHRO XYZ festival. In 2 days this festival is going to begin and it's going to be a great opportunity to get some gems on your account. Now I don't recommend you build a deck from scratch just for this event, unless it's a deck that you're already looking to get invested in, because the point of these festivals is to get gems to fund our main account. But I did want to show you guys some deck building practices and decks that I think are going to overperform in this festival. If you like this kind of video, really appreciate a subscription to the channel, helps out so much, and we're getting so close to 15,000 subscribers. I will be doing a giveaway as soon as we hit that 15,000 subscribers, so definitely make sure to hit that button. Without further ado, let's jump into the first list. The first deck, and what I believe to be the best deck utilizing both Synchros and XYZ monsters, is Virtual World. Virtual World is practically untouched. We can't use the adventure engine in this build, but by adding in generic consistency tools, we will still find the results that we need. If you don't have cards like Upstart Goblin and Chicken Game in your collection, I'd recommend playing like DD Crow, maybe Infinite Impermanence, other hand traps. These cards are just icing on the cake to make our deck that much more consistent. The deck list includes 3 Maxi and 3 Ash Blossom. 2 copies of Nian Nian is just fine, 3 copies of Lulu, 3 Gigi, 2 Lao Lao, 3 Lily, and the 3 Upstart Goblin. Pot of Desires is the only pot allowed in this festival, so I do recommend you cater your deck to play Pot of Desires. Having that +1 is gonna suit you well in the long term. We have 3 Kowloon and 3 copies of Chicken Game, 2 copies of King Long. You could definitely play 3 of this since the Pot of Desires might banish them for you. We have the 2 Emergency Teleport, 2 Call by the Grave, the 2 Chuche, and Zhuan Wu. For the extra deck, we're in with the Star Discharge Warrior, Coral Dragon, Gigi, and we have Crystal Wing Synchro Dragon, one of our main boss monsters. Vermilion Dragon Mech, Shen Shen, Ultimate Sulkin, a bunch of Zeus cards like Breaksword and Downward Magician. We have Ptolemy to get some crazy combos going turn 1. Utopia Beyond to go for game, Beatrice, the Lady of Eternal. Nothing too crazy to send off of Beatrice in this build. You definitely don't need her, but I still chose to include her just to send Nian Nian and maybe make some kind of Zeus play. But now looking at this in retrospect, I don't think this is necessary at all, unless you want to tech against like the meta. If you're noticing everyone's playing some kind of token deck, play Token Collector, or whatever it may be. If you're seeing a bunch of Flunder, I mean, you could just put in Zombie World, but yeah, there's no Scythe in this festival, so it's a little less good. We have Fan Fan and Gaia Charger with Zeus. So yeah, that's the first build. Again, don't craft cards just for this festival. This festival is meant to get you resources and not use all your resources. But let's move on to the second deck that I have to present to you today. The next deck is good old Zoodiac. Yep, Zoodiac is pretty strong in this one, and it's going to be able to jam pack a ton of hand traps into this deck. So for the list, I chose to play 3 DD Crow, 3 Maxi, 3 Ash Blossom, 3 Whiptail, 3 Thoroughblade, and 3 Ram Ram. Just 1 copy of Cataroost for utility, and then we have the Duster. We also played 3 Upstart, the 1 Pot of Avarice, 3 Pot of Desires, and 3 Chicken Game. 10 draw cards, love to see it. And then 2 Searchers in Fire Formation Tenyi, with the 2 Call by the Grave, the 3 Droplets, and the 3 Impermanence. I really like this list. I don't play CROSSOUT because we don't lose that hard to hand traps, honestly. If your opponent ashes you, you probably have a Zoo, you make a play. If your opponent max sees you, you just go into Dryden and pass. And ultimately, I'd rather just eat the hand traps in comparison to using CROSSOUT on them. But I'll leave that up to you. Feel free and throw it in this deck. Nothing wrong with that. For the extra deck, we have Utopic Future and Utopic Draco Future as a boss monster, since we don't have Mega Clops. 3 copies of the Tiger Mortar, Trident, and 2 Borbo. We've got Hammer Kong, 3 Chakanine, and chose to play Baguska. I don't think this is really going to come up very much, but hey, you never know. It could be useful. And we have Drill Driver and Zeus. The rest of this is required. If you guys like this deck list, definitely let me know in the comment section. And if you think of any awesome floodgates, because I did take out Gozen Match and Rivalry from my original list to add more floodgates. So if there's any floodgates that you think are pretty funny in this format, let me know in the comment section. But I'm just going to turbo through this. Let's jump on to the third list. The next deck I have to bring to you is actually Swordsoul. Swordsoul doesn't have access to the Tenyis because without Monk of the Tenyi, those don't do a whole lot. But you can still play this deck since the extra deck is basically fine, and it is actually just the best Synchro deck in the game. So for my list, I did choose to play a lot of hand traps with Veilers, Maxis, Ash Blossoms, and Ghostfell as far as the monster hand traps are concerned. This is a bit ambitious, and I am sacrificing some worm slots to do this. So if you are noticing consistency issues, or if you don't have all the Veilers or the Bells, something like that. I would say just play a different Worm card to try and improve your consistency. You could also just play different Swordsoul cards, such as Assessment, Shunjun, or additional copies of Summit, maybe even Iris Swordsoul, or I guess Golden Swordsoul, in order to just give yourself a better chance to have something to reveal off of Moye in your hand. But I think my ratios are pretty fine. We'll see how it plays out in the festival. 3 Moye, 3 copies of Taya, and 3 Ecclesia, 3 Long Yuan. We have Duster, 3 Desires, absolutely 3 Desires. We gotta find our engine. 3 copies of Emergence and Summit. We're also playing 2 Call by the Grave Crossout, 3 Impermanence, and 3 copies of Blackout. Very important. Yeah, I'm really excited to try this one out. The extra deck includes Yazi. We've got Crimson Blader for the mirror match, 3 copies of Boxia. Since it is our most important removal card, I just chose to up it to 3. We have Draco Berserker and Adamancipator Dragite. We have 2 copies of Shi Shao. We can still play the Xiao Fang. This is because I play Valor. If you don't play Valor, you probably won't be able to get into Xiao Fang, but I just wanted to have that option available to me. I guess Nibiru would also be fine in this deck. We have Baronne de Fleur, we have Supreme Sovereign, the Sinister Sovereign, and then Baguska plus Zeus. Pretty good. Yeah, so that is the Swordsoul deck that I'm currently going to be running, and we will update it as the event continues, but let's move on to the next list. For the 4th deck, for some godforsaken reason, Crooked Cook is not banned in this festival. I feel like this was banned in the last festival, and then they unbanned it. So yeah, Crooked Cook being allowed means Shark is definitely a serious competitor. For the list, we played 3 Tuna Princess, 3 copies of Maxi, 3 Ash Blossoms. I just like to Ghost Spell. I have to Ghost Spell, play whatever you have. We have 3 copies of Silent Angler, 3 copies of Shithana, which is just a premier level 4 water extender. We have the Right Hand Shark, which is the reason for the season, the reason that the Crooked Cook is so degenerate, and we have the 3 Buzzsaw Shark, 1 Lifeless Leaf Fish, and 3 Silent Sea Nettle. For the spells, we play Harpy's Feather Duster, 3 Potted Desires. You may notice a trend here with the Desires. 3 copies of White Mirror, 3 copies of the Puri Rice Map to find the tuna. We have 2 copies of Call by the Grave, and 3 Droplets to, you know, weaken up the board a little bit when you're going second. For the extra deck, I like to play Utopic Future and Future Draco. We have Totally Awesome. We have the Rebarian Shark, and then Bahamut Shark. We also play the Full Armor Black Ray Lancer, the Hope Woven Dragon Spider Shark. Yeah, and 2 copies of the Crooked Cook. We then have Baguska and the Stealth Kraken. I only have one of these. If you have 2, go ahead and play 2, but I didn't want to craft it since it's in the Legacy packs. 2 copies of the Kraken Spawn, and then Vespinato and Zeus. This deck is definitely no joke. Another card you could consider is Astral Karibo, but it's an ultra rare. This will give you more ways to make the Crooked Cook, and honestly, I don't think your opponent's going to win through that, unless they have anything that does piercing or a Kaiju. But for the last deck, I did want to show a budget option for someone who just wanted to get through the event spending no UR tickets. The last deck for this video is the absolute work of art that is Kei OTK. This deck is extremely cheap, no required ultra rares, and it's very good at clearing these events quickly. So if you don't really care about the aesthetic of the event and you just want the gems, this might be the path for you. The games that this deck plays are very quick, and so you should be able to clear it in record time. For the list, we play 3 Mataza the Zapper and 3 Benkei, your main attackers. They attack multiple times. We have Raigeki, and I chose to play Duster, but if you don't have this, just play any Yu-Gi-Oh card. We have Monster Reborn and Reinforcements of the Army. 3 copies of Magical Mallet. This is just a suggestion, the Magical Mallets and the Reloads. If you don't like them, just play something else. It's perfectly fine. 3 copies of Pot of Desires, 1 copy of Lightning Storm, and then 3 Acts of Despair to gain 1,000, 3 Mask of Brutality to gain 1,000, 3 Mage Power to gain like 1,000,000, and 3 Gallatin, which gains 1,000. We also have 3 Bashing Shield, which gains 1,000 attack, and Psychic Blade, which gains, actually, I think this is like a lot of attack. It's like 2,000 attack, so yeah, pretty insane. We also have 3 Clarent, which lets you attack directly, so very, very useful. And finally, 2 copies of Reload. So that's going to be it for today's video. Let me know what you're planning on playing in the SYNCHRO XYZ Festival. Definitely love reading your comments. If you're not already subscribed to the channel, definitely be sure to subscribe to the channel, and I will be live on Twitch tonight and tomorrow with a huge tournament. Tomorrow's tournament is not going to be something you want to miss, so if you're available, definitely hope to see you there. Thank you guys so much for watching the video till the end, and I hope you have a great day. Take care. Bye-bye.